Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to PM Personality Profile. My guest tonight, he's a politician, an economist, a former member of parliament for the Ofinso North constituency. He's former minister for trades and industry, Dr. Kofi Konadu Apraku, currently the commissioner for macroeconomic policy and economic research at ECOWAS. Good to see you. It's been a long while.
Too long.
Too long.
I only see you in pictures. But I'm very pleased to see you this evening.
Very pleased to see you too. What have you been up to, Doc?
Well, as you indicated, I've been in ECOWAS for the last nearly 4 years.
Okay.
We started over there in 2018, February exactly 2018. We've been there working on behalf of the 15-member countries.
Okay.
As you indicated, I'm in charge of the macroeconomic policy and economic research. And our work is to monitor, collect information about the macroeconomic performance of member states, all geared towards reaching a convergence phase of our single currency program.
Okay.
That would then allow us to establish a single currency for the 15-member countries of ECOWAS.
Okay. So, I mean, recent happenings in Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and the Chad have made ECOWAS very busy. The chairman, who is the president of Ghana himself, has been organizing meetings both physically and virtually just to try to put things to rest. Where are we at the moment?
Well, at the moment, there have been meetings, the last ones in Burkina Faso, as you indicated. That's the last country to have gone through that phase or process. Now things have stabilized. We have put the sanctions on. We are putting pressure for them to hand over to a civilian, democratically elected government in that country. All the measures are in place. And all the consultations are going on.
Okay.
All the monitoring that ECOWAS needs to undertake to ensure that they at least, at the minimum, conform to the civil rights, respect for human rights of the citizens, regardless of their political affiliation. That seems to be ongoing. And it seems there's not a whole lot of violence right now. The government seems in the process of setting itself up. So we're monitoring. We have early warning group in that country. We have a special representative of ECOWAS, the president of a former president, Jonathan of Nigeria, who is monitoring with the foreign ministers in this respect. Our own foreign minister has been very active. Occasional visits to see how things are happening. And then we have given them a time period within which to make a new transition into a civilian administration.
So you are the commissioner for macroeconomic policy and economic research at ECOWAS. What exactly do you do?
My job is to monitor the performance of the 15-member countries in respect of meeting what we call the convergence criteria.
Okay.
The convergence criteria is a set of economic criteria which we have put together that will allow ECOWAS member countries to have very strong, resilient economies, good enough for us to group together to form a single currency.
Okay.
The name of the currency, as you may well know, is called ECO, and it's a recent development that we have come together to select that currency. In so doing, we send our team, my team from the department, to all the member countries, working with the central banks and the ministries of finance. And then statistics. We collect the statistical performance of all the member countries in the specific aggregates. Then we look at the macroeconomic performance, for example, inflation rate, for the exchange rates, the debt as a percent of GDP, the GDP growth itself, about 7 or 8 economic indicators that give us a sense of the health of the economy.
Okay.
We assemble for each member countries and analyze the data, working consultation with the respective leadership, such as the Minister of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank, and their staff. When we would have collected the data, we analyzed to ascertain the individual country performance, and then we rank the countries in respect of their capability to meeting what we call the convergence criteria. The convergence criteria is just a set of indicators that we don't want to converge as poor countries together, vulnerable and unable to help each other. We want to converge at the point that we have met stringent economic variable requirements, so that you have strong countries coming together to form a stronger union. And that's the essence of our work.
In your research, studying the currency of these 15 member states, what have you found?
Well, this thing started way before I went there. In fact, when I was Minister for Regional Cooperation also, I was in fact chairman of the Council of Ministers, and we started this. You may recall that even in Ghana we installed billboards. We were so hopeful that by 2006, we will have a single currency, and it's become very elusive. We have not gotten there. But basically, if we have done very well, then we have low inflation rate. We have good exports, so that our overseas accumulation of foreign revenues will go up. We have strong performance of trade amongst us. And then all the other indicators, such as the debt, the public debt, will be at a minimum. The borrowing from Ghana or the respective country from their central banks has to meet a certain standard. And that's what we have been doing. There have been so many times that we made a lot of progress, giving us faith and confidence that we were closer to achieving our targets. But unfortunately, we lack resilience in our countries, respective countries. In other words, when we have any difficult period, any difficult, unexpected development, it tends to be very catastrophic for us because we are basically very weak, such as is the case of the COVID. Before 2018, we were making a lot of progress. We were even confident that we may meet the convergence criteria by 2020, at which time then we will have a single currency. And all was going well until we were hit by COVID. And it's been very devastating for our respective economies. We were so confident that a critical mass of the countries, a number of countries, would have met the convergence criteria such that we could have had the currency by 2020. Unfortunately, it has not been the case.
So now you've pushed your target to when?
We push it to 2026, which is what we call
4 years from now.
Yes, 4 years from now as the convergence, where we would have gone through the processes. We will assess the various countries. And let me state for the record that the last assessment that we did last year, only Togo was able to meet most of the convergence criteria.
Wow.
And obviously,
out of 15 countries, only one
obviously
country.
One cannot start. It has to be at least one plus somebody else. And so that is where we are.
There's been concerns that ECOWAS hasn't been proactive enough over the period. This is because they think that some of these issues in Mali, in Burkina, in Guinea, for instance, they think that ECOWAS could have come in earlier. I mean, what is the challenge?
ECOWAS has challenges. But if ECOWAS has challenges, it means West Africa has challenges. ECOWAS can do only so much. Let me tell you the systems that we have in place. We have what we call the early warning mechanism that almost all member countries, Ghana's was installed just about 2 months ago here, that monitors development in each country. It monitors what the population is saying. It monitors government actions and programs and policies. So the early warning system is designed to alert us. And in all these cases that you have mentioned, the early warning was on time, on target. It said that this country is facing problems. For example, you look at Guinea. Guinea had an election. When they had the election, it was after the president has finished his 10-year mandate and he amended the constitution. In amending the constitution, they had a a referendum. And invariably, such as it tends always to be the case, unfortunately, where these changes are being made, the president and his party won. Before the election, before the, that election, ECOWAS sent our staff there.
Okay.
Because the opposition had protested about the register, that the register has been compromised.
Yeah.
We paid the country to undertake a re-registration.
Okay.
ECOWAS actually did.
Okay.
And we did the new registration, so when we were going to have the election, for all practical purposes, we had a good register that if other things were being equal, should produce an outcome that all of us ought to have been proud. But the fact is that ECOWAS cannot interfere directly in the sovereignty of member countries.
Jeez.
We are as strong as member countries will make us to be.
Okay.
If, for example, our protocol on democracy allow ECOWAS forces to intervene, then we will intervene.
Okay.
But it gives very, very little circumstance, little room for that type of interference, such as we did in Liberia, where we sent ECOWAS forces to stop something that was so blatantly undemocratic, and we felt it deserved that kind of intervention. But otherwise, ECOWAS, I'm not saying we have been 100%. When these elections were being held also, ECOWAS sent observers. And our observer mission, sometimes they stay there for 3 months.
Okay.
Monitoring the processes that leads to the election, because elections do not happen in a day. It's a cumulative program that undermines or strengthens democracy even before the day of the election. So, coming from ECOWAS, I'm sure you think I'm be inclined to defend ECOWAS, but I've been very critical because I'm also a politician.
Yeah.
And we are tired of the tag that Africans can organize themselves. Africans are somehow incapable of doing anything right.
Yeah.
That our democracy is a sham. I wish we could do more, but we could do as much as we are allowed to do. The sovereignty of the nation resides within the citizens and within the country. The rooms that we are allowed to operate, we have utilized it as effectively as we can.
Well, we hope that ECOWAS will be given more room to be able to deal with some of these issues, because usually there's a spillover that affects neighboring countries, and which really is not pleasant. So we don't want that to happen. But let's come back home. Kofi Konadu Apraku sounds to me like an Ashanti name.
Yes, indeed.
So you are an Ashanti.
Yes.
From where, to be
From
precise?
From Akumadai, in the Offenso North District. Yeah.
Okay. Born and bred there?
Born and bred there. Went to school there. And
everything in Akumadai?
Yes, everything.
Born, bred, cheesed, battered, everything?
There was no cheese there. Unfortunately, some of us did not see cheese for ages. But I was born there. My parents were not did not have formal education, so maybe you'd call them illiterates. But they had the sense to send me to school, and God being gracious to me, I did okay enough to go to secondary school at Chinobuakodia Secondary School in Kumau. And it was there that I think we were in Form 4, that our English master selected some of us to participate in an international essay competition.
Oh, wow.
Something that had been in many of the elite schools for a long time.
But
it's called AFS.
Okay.
And so I participated in that, and I was selected to go and finish my high school, the last year of high school, in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, stayed there for more than I ever thought I would. Did a bachelor's degree, did a master's degree, did a PhD, and taught in 3 universities before returning to Ghana.
Well, let's talk about growing up in Akumadai, and then we'll go to Kumewu. How was, as a young boy coming up, where did you even start schooling? Not Kumewu.
I almost not did not get a chance to go to school because my parents were divorced, and at that time I had a senior brother that my father said we was able to support one. So I used to go to farm with my mother, and I had my own. We grow tomatoes. That's the most famous agricultural product there.
Okay.
So one day we were going to farm, and the headmaster always runs in the morning. He saw us. He stopped my mom and said, "Why is he not at school?" He said, "Well, the father is looking at another son and he hasn't been." So, "Oh, bring him to school." The next day, when I went, I was a little older than my classmates. But God being so kind, after a little while, they said that I had the capacity to be in the next class.
So what class did you start from?
They say class 1.
So they were calling you class 1, Papa?
Yes, it was older. They promoted me to class 2, and I said maybe God had given me something that I didn't realize.
Okay.
But I did well enough. So I had 2 promotions, caught up with my original
age
mates, and then that's the story. And then went to secondary school, and from there.
Okay, so which school was that? No, I mean the
Akumada Methodist Primary,
Methodist
Middle.
Then when you completed, then you went to
I left Form 2. That was, I think, the first time they had introduced the facility for people to take the common entrance early. You were probably not born or something like that.
I met my father.
So some of us were in Form 2, and then instead of going to Form 3, we went to secondary school. Okay. But previously, you go to Form 4. I was one of those lucky ones that I was able to take the entrance examination early enough and pass and went out.
Wow.
So it seemed like I was always jumping.
You were jumping.
Because from here, I went from Kofi, I went to the State South Albany High School, completed the last year. They put me in the last year. And when I finished there, we don't have 6th form.
Okay.
So from the street, I went to the university. So I had saved additional 2 years. So my life has been one of jumping. So I hope to jump to something else.
You will jump to something else very soon. But I'm much more interested in Kumeu, where you attended Chunebu Akodia Secondary School. How was secondary school like?
Secondary school for me was fantastic because I really never thought I would have even the chance to go there. And I was very, very religious. Okay. And I always felt there's hand of God in my life. Okay. I was so much involved in religion that I was made the SU president when I was in Form 5. And very, very religious. I used to preach in my local church. When we come on holidays, I preach at the Methodist Church in Akumada, and spend most of my time attending summer vacation programs that the SU organized for young people. So it was fun for me. I didn't have much of other interests, like maybe other people who were perhaps a lot more exposed. I wasn't so exposed. Okay. I was limited, my religion and my books, basically.
Aside joining the SU, what kind of student would you say you were?
I was made the library prefect also. Always with my book, because I didn't have all the other things other people have. You know, when you come from the kind of environment and the background that I have, the key to me was just steady, and be a good boy. Okay. And I was very bad because I judge people so quickly. If you were not an SU person, then you're a bad person. It was very, very bad. It took me a while. Okay. You know, at that time, we have the guys who came from good homes and bigger cities. They know life, and we didn't know much about that. So even I recall Saturdays when we would be having, what do we call it, night something, where they having the
jam.
Yes, parties, and they pray. We invite other schools. Then they say we were hypocrites. We would go to the classroom and we start singing SU songs. Because we felt they were not good. Okay. It took a while for me to rationalize myself. Hey, maybe it's my deficiency that has made me so different in that sense. But we got along.
So you talk about well-to-do kids who were there. You also coming from Akomadan and all that. How did you manage in school? I mean, were there constraints? I believe there were.
There were constraints because my mother was, they gave at that time I had CMB scholarship. I've been very lucky in my life. Cocoa board. Maybe when you guys were in school, it was not available as easily available. But CMB gave scholarship to people from cocoa, supposedly to people whose parents produce cocoa and that kind of stuff. But it eventually, no, my mother was, but I don't know if we got it. We applied and we got it. I don't know if there was such a strict test to ascertain that an individual, you know, all things start and then it takes a different different so I was lucky enough to have CMB, and it helped made life a little easier because my mother had other children that she was also responsible for.
What would you describe as your biggest challenge in secondary school?
Maybe not enough self-confidence, you know. So everything has to be books, you know. Because people that came at that time, you have very sophisticated people who knew the world and all the other things. I was not involved, you know. Didn't have a girlfriend and that kind of stuff. I think one shouldn't do this. And my mother was also very religious and had really inculcated these things in me. So it was very difficult to shake it off. It's after I went to the United States and I had gone to the university that I saw life. As other people had lived for a long time. But my challenge was maybe doing what I want to do and still being accepted, because they call us crife for that kind of, they give us name, and sometimes you are not strong enough, you begin to feel a sense of inferiority. But I think I had self-confidence in there after a while that it did not matter to me. I just want to go to school, go to university. That's my dream. And then I'll be a pastor or something.
So you never got yourself into trouble?
No trouble at all. As you people, we set the example. We're supposed to set the example.
So you stayed away from trouble all
the time. Very much. Never been, except that bullying, you know, but having done something and being punished.
So you were bullying them?
No, we were being bullied. I never bullied anybody in school. Never.
Even when you became senior?
No,
you didn't bully anybody?
No.
Wow.
We're supposed to be, we are shepherding them to become Christians. We're not expected to do that. We're supposed to set the best examples for others.
Wow. So from Komeu, then you had the scholarship to go to the US, and then you also had the opportunity to school in South Africa.
No, work for the UN in South Africa.
Share those experiences with me in the US and in South Africa.
US, after I finished my PhD, very lucky. As I said, I've been very lucky. I even got a job before I went for the graduation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So immediately I graduated, I went to teach in a small university, Rio Grande College in Ohio. Yeah, I was there for 1 year, and then I got another job. And then I moved on till I came to University of North Carolina. That is where I really excelled. I was happy. It was a major university, you know, state university. It was there that these outings came about, you know. We were very much in opposition to the Rawlings regime, and we had formed a group in the US, and we meet and we finance, we send monies, we come and demonstrate anytime there was any official visit by anybody from the administration. Some of the colleagues that I work with are all back here, you know. And we organized these demonstrations, and I got very interested in the politics of our countries, and even wrote a book. My first book was dealing with the missing aspects of, I said, African immigrants in the United States, a missing link in Africa's development. Because when we meet and we see the number of people who are ably qualified and have such strong sentiments for their country, our country, Ghana, and yet because of the political environment, we didn't want to come home. And so that book sold well. And it is through that book that I actually came to Ghana, because Professor Dubois was a visiting professor at Cornell University from University of Ghana. He saw the book, he read the book, and he got in touch with me and convinced me that I should consider coming to Ghana, because he liked some of the things maybe that I may have said. And a lot of us, there's so many of us that came and went into politics like me, even now. When I came, Prof convinced me to run for Parliament. And I had been in the news quite a bit, being the spokesperson for finance for our political party. That was in the formative years, and then eventually. So I was known a little bit. And my people also convinced me that it would be good if I were to run for MP from Offenso North. So all of these were going on in my mind. We tried 92, and then we boycotted the election. And so then I decided that I have to go back. You know, the money was going, the money was flowing like water away. I said, I better go and replenish myself and come back. So I took some time back
and you went to the US. Dr. Konadu Apraku, he's my guest tonight. Remember, he was a member of parliament for the Offenso North constituency. In fact, he started telling me some of the issues that he faced to become member of parliament. And he's also former minister for trades and industry. When I return from this break, he will be telling us about his experiences as a member of parliament and a minister. But again, did he want to become anything else apart from an economist? Well, he says he wanted to be a pastor. Is that all he wanted to be? At what point did he develop the love for politics? Or at what point did he decide that he wasn't going to be a pastor again, but he was going to be a politician? When I return, he'll be sharing all of that with us, plus his family life and values. Stay with me. I'm coming right back. Welcome back to PM Personality Profile. My guest still Dr. Kofi Konadu Apraku. You remember Akumad and Tomatoes. He is my guest tonight. Doc, so you were telling me about how your first attempt to become a member of parliament didn't work, so you had to go back to the US. Now, tell me, even before you let me into your experiences as MP and minister, what did you want to become? Because I know every child usually wants to become something as they're growing up.
When I was growing up, as I said, the only thing that I knew was
being
to
be a pastor.
Yeah, be a pastor or something related to religion. Because my mother was a fellowship woman, the women in the church.
Women fellowship.
Yeah, women fellowship. Everybody in my family devout Methodist. And so that's all we knew in the house. And in a rural environment, you live with your mother without a father. Your mother controls your life.
Yes, definitely.
She's really controlled me. Every day I follow her to church, I follow her to farm, that kind of life. You know, so that's, and you look at your pastor, you see the most important person in your life. You feel like that's what you also want
have
to be.
to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So then later,
But
when
they
you
took
went
me
to
away.
when you went to the U.S.
And then I got interested in American politics, and I realized there was a lot that we could do, particularly during that period where there were coup d'etats all over Africa. It was such embarrassment that Africans don't seem to have a sense of what is right, what is wrong, the sense of direction, what is good, what is wrong, and also a comprehensive program to transform their own society. We live in poverty. We have all the resources. Sometimes you look at yourself, you feel inferior. Why is it that God is giving us everything, and yet we are the poorest? Why is it that there's so much turmoil on our continent? Today there's a coup d'etat, there is a counter coup d'etat, there is civil wars. Everything you hear is negative about Africans. So you begin to feel like this is not the way we ought to be. And so my interest was growing on a daily basis. And that was the basis for us to form this Ghanaian movement, the United States. And we were making contribution to political parties to change. To change the military, because it wasn't only in Ghana. Everywhere you look, there was military dictatorship. And I did not happen to believe, with all humility, that they have the capacity to transform our countries. Countries that have been transformed by people who know what they are doing, not people who come in with anger and wanting to change things overnight. It doesn't work like that.
So when you went to the U.S., at what point did you feel it was right for you to come back to Ghana?
I was there for just 1 year.
And
when I got there, in fact, I didn't spend 1 year in the university. Then I met Mr. Kofi Annan. And there had been some disruptions in Croatia. I had separated from the greater country. And they needed economists to go and help build back that country. I was selected as one of the team members. So I went there, and it was an eye-opener. First time that I'm putting what I've learned in school in terms of development programs. I was working in the unit for reinstallation of infrastructure. So we're looking at the critical economic infrastructure that can help them regain back their development trajectory. And so that opened my eyes a lot. And then with the politics that I had been exposed to here, I really built some self-confidence that indeed we can make a difference. So now my focus was completely. But when I got back to the States, I had taught for about now 4 or 5 years, and that is the time you get promotion to become associate professor. I was evaluated and it was given to me, and so it was very difficult for me to leave at that time. But I said, no, I'm going. And someday I'll show the letter that I wrote to the chancellor of the university. When I look back, I say, hey, where did I get all these ideas? I ended the letter is that something like, I have so much to do, and I can't waste my time here. To a chancellor. And something along that line. But it was such a way that I looked back, and I felt like maybe there's some hand pushing me to this area.
Have you ever regretted taking that decision?
No, never, never. Even though when we came in and there was military and I was targeted for so many things, I'm robbery, I'm this. There were days that I felt low, but never enough to say that, no, I've had enough. Because it was a battle. It was a battle that we were engaged in, and I don't quit easily.
Well, then finally you became a member of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th Parliament. How would you describe your time as member of Parliament, through the current Parliament that we have?
That was a very different Parliament. We recall that we had been ruled by military dictatorship, and we had boycotted the election, and there were only 66 of us in Parliament. And I think, if I'm correct, they were about 130 something. So it was lopsided. arrangement.
Yeah.
So every one of us has to do the job of two persons.
Okay.
That's my sense of it. That I have to represent 3 additional people that are not here.
Okay.
And so we went to work, and I was made the spokesperson for finance. And at that time, the major issues were finance, because we are having very difficult economic times throughout the world, throughout Africa, and in Ghana was really bad. So our agenda was to create a sense of an alternative government for the country, alternative course that we can take to rediscover ourselves, to lay a path, a new trajectory for faster economic development.
Yeah.
So we were all of us carrying a burden. I think without somebody telling you, you yourself felt like, hey, there's supposed to be so many of us here, but we are only 66, and we have to do the work of 66 as well as that of the 133, I believe, that they had. And in many, many instances, I think the people of Ghana are the best judges. I'm biased, so I may say something that may not be acceptable. But let me say that we did our work as well as we were. And we did not, at any point, in terms of the debates, in terms of the options that were provided, felt like we were inadequate. We felt that we were confident that we won the day in many, many instances. And I think it was a very good period for our country to see the other options that are available to us.
The 8th Parliament has been characterized with a lot of confusion and chaos, and a lot of Ghanaians are unhappy about this. How do you feel about this whole
thing? It's not
thing?
only a lot of Ghanaians. I live in Nigeria, and Nigerians hold us like egg. They have a lot of confidence and respect for our political structures and our maturity. And when and funny enough, I did not see the brawl in Parliament myself. It was sent to me by another Nigerian senator.
Goodness.
He said, I can't believe this, and they all talk my Ghana, like they like Ghana. He said, I could not believe that this can happen in Ghana. And myself, I really did not expect that it would go that far. Yes, we always have had competition. Yes, and even we yell at each other, sit down, sit down, sit down. Shut up, whatever they will say. But that was not, it was friendly. You know, we do it after the end of the session. We walk together, we talk. I don't know one person in Parliament, even though sometimes I felt I was too strong at them. One that I felt was offended enough to be angry enough to throw a blow. I could not imagine that. So it was really a very low day for me as an individual member of Parliament. This is not a tradition. NDC is a political party. In the political party, you have human beings. MPP is a political party. We move together for our agenda. At the end of the day, we have very good friends with them, you know. So it can never be the case that anything to get to the point that you physically want to assault your colleague. So it was bad. And I think maybe they have not gone over it because there's still a lot of animosity in our Parliament today. I don't know how that can be reversed, but it's not healthy for us. The image of Ghana or Ghanaians, but image of Ghana as a country is so high. Everywhere you go, you say you're Ghanaian. There's some pride, and we cannot trade it for a few people that for whatever reason cannot agree and therefore resort to these physical assaults. This is not acceptable at all,
The latest chaos actually was sparked by the passing of the E-Levy or approval of the E-Levy, which the finance minister says is critical for government business. I mean, what's your stance on this controversial matter?
Boy, I was not hoping to deal with this issue.
But you're an economist.
The bottom line is that government should tax businesses to generate resources. The individuals, direct taxes such as this sometimes can be very, very destructive. You know, even the business, there's a basic economic principle that the lesser you tax the business and government reduces its expenditure, the better off it is for the nation.
Yeah.
Because in the final analysis, it's the business that can carry the government.
Okay.
So higher taxes are not desirable as economic standard. The lower the taxes, the greater the prospects for better growth.
Okay.
So I don't have the figures, but my sense of it is that whatever it is that is being presented, it should not degenerate into the level that it has.
Okay.
We are politicians,
Yeah.
and in the final analysis, the people are the ones who give their verdict.
Yeah.
If it's as bad as people think it is, and MPP insists on it, MPP will pay a big price.
Yeah.
And the essence of all of this is that you want to win political power. If MPP is going to deliver it on a silver platter for you because of this, why would you fight?
Yeah.
You know, my sense of it is that whatever be the case, government must expand its tax net for the corporations, the bigger companies, because they are the ones that are powerful, and they are the ones that, all things being equal, evade taxes.
Okay. Yeah.
The little ones, they need protection. So whatever mix that you have, and I haven't really gotten into this one deep enough to know, whatever mix that it has, the greater burden ought to be borne by the private sector. Even there we know it's not good, but if it has to be, our target should be more on the private sector than the private individuals, because we are very poor to begin with.
What do you make of our current economic situation amid the downgrades and the high public debt levels?
Those are specific issues that it doesn't matter whether you are MPP or you are NDC. Downgrading us makes it difficult for us as a nation to borrow. We borrow at very high rates.
Yeah.
And no Ghanaian should wish that for Ghana.
Okay.
So that is an issue that must be addressed. And it doesn't happen by chance. It's a process. And so when you are downgraded, you should send strong signals of reformation and changes that are being made to strengthen your sources of revenue that give confidence to the investors that indeed you have pragmatic programs that, all things being equal, can turn things around. This is not a place you play politics.
Yeah.
Because the numbers will not lie at the end of the day. The numbers will speak what is underground, the fundamentals are. So just take it as is and go and work on that.
What would it take to turn our economy around?
That's what makes it so difficult, because COVID has been very devastating for us in the developing world. Even in the developed world, you know the ramification and the impacts it's created. U.S. economy, the Japanese, the Chinese, the bigger economies, Europeans, they're all going through a lot of difficulty.
Yes.
And as somebody in charge of these issues at the 15-country level, I know.
Okay.
And we have tried, we work with the ministers of finance and the governors to help put programs that Ghana has also put in to mitigate the impact of it. Some are working. Over time, I believe it will work. In the interim, we have to support the government to do what is right. It cannot be a battle. And that is, to me, where sometimes I get upset, because it's not NDC economy separate from MPP economy.
Definitely.
If there are rules that we all believe can lead us to the promised land, it doesn't matter whether it's MPP or NDC, because when you go home and you go to the grocery shop, when your wife goes to buy things, they don't have NPP prices or NDC prices. We all live in it.
Definitely.
If our economy is so bad that we are paying such high rates on our borrowing, it doesn't discriminate between NPP and NDC.
Yeah.
That is the essence of a parliament representation that looks beyond the political divide. Until we begin to do that, particularly given the time that we are going through now, we will all pay the price.
Is your party also reaching out enough?
They should reach out if they are not reaching out enough. because you are the leadership.
Yeah.
The people have given you the verdict. You carry responsibility to the people.
Yeah.
It is your responsibility not to fail those who have voted for you. Even if the opposition wishes you ill, you have a responsibility to do what you can to get on the right trajectory.
Well, we are preparing for the 2024 elections. It may look too far, but it's really too close because everybody else, including the MPP, is actually putting their things in order because they say they want to break the 8. Now, a lot of the names that have come up, I've heard your name pop up a few times, but I haven't really heard you talk about it. Let me ask you this. Do you have presidential ambitions?
Oh, I think they say everybody wants to be a leader in whatever it is that they do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I do have presidential ambitions. Maybe I have not been so forthright as others, partly because of the work that I do. We are not allowed to engage directly in politics while we hold those positions.
Okay.
You may be in a position that, for example, just for purposes of discussion, that you, ECOWAS Commissioner in charge of macroeconomic policy, supposed to work with the Minister of Finance and all the others. Maybe the Minister of Finance of Ghana is also running for, or anticipating running, and you are running. You can't work together.
Definitely.
So we are supposed to suppress our interest, not publicly display our interest that we want to. And then also if there's a problem in Ghana, God forbid, an ECOWAS delegation is coming, and I'm MPP running for a presidential position and MPP, and there's a problem with NDC, my colleagues may, because of me, take a position that may not be good for ECOWAS. So for that reason, they don't allow us to play politics. But it's not to think about it or even do something without publicly displaying your ambition. And therefore, my sense of it is that when the right time comes and we go through the process, God gives me the strength, I will also join
Put yourself
the race.
up for the race. But why do you think you are the one to help break the 8?
I'm sure everybody who put their name there will say that they are qualified enough to. But I think in my own situation, I have been very lucky. I have been put in positions that I have benefited tremendously. I have the opportunity to now look back at my country as an outsider, for example, and I see things perhaps that I would not even have seen if I were here. The exposure that I've had working for the UN, working for the World Bank, working for the ECOWAS, working for the European Union, working for the Economic Commission of Africa, all relating to the issues that are of great importance to our country today. I think it's put me in a position that I believe, and the contacts that are built around the world, you don't govern as an individual, you govern when you have others that are ready to support you. The international network that are put in place, I think all put together, represent the best chance for MPP to break the 8.
Okay. But recently also members of the party, some members, grassroots members, have complained or have shown concern about what they say is bias from the top. Reason they say the party didn't do well in the 2020 elections. What do you make of those allegations?
I'd rather stay out of that one, but let me just state the fact. The fact, they say facts don't lie.
Yeah.
All of us, MPP supporters or members, would have wished we have greater majority in Parliament than we do.
Yeah.
And nothing happens by chance. It's not by chance that we had such a huge majority, and all of a sudden we have just barely a majority. So something may have happened. I think it's the responsibility of the party to really dispassionately look at what may have been the cause. It can never be the case that if you're a party member and you voices something out, then you are the enemy. None of us can be an enemy. I can never be an enemy in this party. I've given my life to the party. The price I've paid for this party, very few may have paid for that. We have structures if things are so bad as you perceive it, there are structures that allows you to make your concerns.
Well, we wish you all the best in your endeavor. We're looking out for you as you make another jump again in your life, and we'll be here to support you. But I must say, you look very fit for your age and healthy. What do you do to keep fit?
I walk every day.
Okay.
That's about it. I walk every day, 24. I mean, 365 days a year.
Every day?
Every day.
Okay. How many minutes every day?
About
how many steps?
1 hour.
An hour
and a half every day.
Oh, wow.
Monday through Monday.
Oh, wow. That's
yes.
good.
Yeah.
How many
now, in
steps
fact,
I lost,
thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands
yes,
of
yes,
steps
yes,
every day.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a watch that monitors all
Okay.
the steps that I take every day. And it's working for me.
Wow.
Because I don't refuse to grow.
Do I get the opportunity to walk with you so that I can also refuse to grow?
Yes, I will be honored.
But when all is said and done and you are in your little corner, what do you do to relax?
Well, I love music. I dance by myself.
You
I
do?
can play music. Don't put any music on
I'm not
now.
going to put any music.
But I can dance alone in my house.
Okay.
Yes, when I feel like it.
That's nice. Okay.
I dance.
What genre of music do you usually listen?
The Ghanaian music, obviously.
Ghanaian music,
I like some American music
as well.
Combined.
Okay.
Nigerian music.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite then?
Oh, Kojenchi has been my friend, and also I love his music.
You do.
Not only him.
Okay.
All those that are in that league.
Okay.
I love the Chi music also.
But before I get you into the Kojenchi mode, I just want you to tell me this. Which among your kids are following your steps?
None.
None of your kids?
None.
Economist, politician, none of them?
I haven't been a good model for them. They see problems for me in politics.
They don't want problems.
No. They have attacked.
But being an economist is not a problem.
Yeah, well, but I have a medical doctor. I have one who is an investment banker.
Okay.
And then I have one who is doing his private business.
Okay.
And then I have counted hard. I have one that is still in the university.
Okay, so 4 of them?
We are 5.
Five. How many
one
boys?
is working for an insurance company.
Okay, so
all of them are back in the States. They didn't move with me, so
at least
only one is here.
At least 2 of them are toying a bit on the economics.
The investment banker is economist. He has very
side.
strong skills in there.
Oh wow! What kind of a father are you?
Very strict.
Strict. Okay.
Friendly. We get along very well. Yeah. But things must be done properly.
So when it's time for you to be a father, you let them know,
they see it.
I'm your father.
They can, yeah.
But when it's
time I'm wearing my hat today.
You've got to do the right thing.
Got to do the right thing.
Oh, definitely. And I'm sure they're all proud of you.
Well, 3 girls, 2 boys.
Oh, wow.
So
you're a proud father.
Can't complain.
And do you have a gun already? 3 girls, you need a gun.
3 girls, now all of them are married.
Okay, so
I live in the hands of God.
Is it this one that's your favorite?
Friend of my meal. kopo yanu draba. Mina munsansamui. Dio nyabeni. Oh yeta we are to way. I'm a dark or the baby passa. Minyantaba anga meta kodonji. Now timio. Minyantaba anga meta tisano mapna to brain.
Thank you so much, Doc, for talking to us. We are really, really grateful that you allowed us into your life. Wish you well. Say keep up the good work and always do it for God and country. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. Same time next week, we'll be bringing you another interesting personality on PM Personality Profile. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Enjoy the rest of our programs. You're doing very well because if I look at you now and before, I can see that you've lost a lot more weight.
Yes.
And I think that's very encouraging.
I'm very conscious about beef and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Fatty foods. Conscious about oil. Why?